Listen, we just got knocked out of the FA Cup by Southampton, a championship club. And before that, Manchester City battered us in the Carabao Cup final. So yeah, 2 cup exits in 2 weeks. The treble dream, gone. The quadruple, long gone. But tonight is different. Tonight, Arsenal traveled to Lisbon for the Champions League quarter-final first leg against Sporting CP. And honestly, this is the one competition we cannot afford to mess up, because if we bottle this too, I don't even want to think about it. So let's talk about what's actually happening tonight. Who's fit, who's not, what Arteta is likely to do, and whether we actually have a chance against a Sporting side that has been absolutely flying at home this season. Grab a seat, this is going to be a proper conversation. Setting the scene. Why this game is bigger than people think first. Let me put some context on the table. We beat Bayer Leverkusen in the round of 16. Comfortable enough in the end. 3-1 on aggregate. Good performance. Clean and professional. Classic Arteta. Sporting got here in a completely different way. They lost 3-0 to Bodo Glimt in the first leg. 3 goals down, at home. And then, I'm not even joking, they went and won 5-0 in the second leg to go through. 5 goals, from 3 goals down. That is one of the most insane comebacks in Champions League history. So you tell me, does that sound like a team that gives up easily? And here's the thing that gets me. Sporting haven't lost a single home game since last August. Not one. They've won every single Champions League home game this season. 5 from 5. The Alvalade is going to be absolutely rocking tonight. Meanwhile, we're coming in off the back of 2 defeats and a squad that looks tired and slightly broken right now. But, and this is important, tonight might actually be the perfect reset, the perfect chance to remind everyone, including ourselves, why this Arsenal team is still dangerous in Europe. The injury situation. Let's be real about this, okay? Let's talk about the squad situation because this is where it gets a bit messy. Good news first. Declan Rice is back. He missed the Southampton game at the weekend with a minor fitness issue, but he trained on Monday and he's expected to start tonight. And honestly, that alone changes everything. When Rice isn't playing, Arsenal look completely different. Slower in transitions, less aggressive in duels, less secure in midfield. He's not just important, he's the engine of this team right now. His return is massive. Now let's talk about Gabriel. Here's where I have to be straight with you. The information coming out is mixed. Arteta said publicly that Gabriel is available and set to start. But other reliable sources are suggesting he's a major doubt and that Christian Mosquera will likely start alongside Saliba at the back. Who do I believe? Honestly, I think we wait and see the team sheet. Arteta sometimes plays these little mind games in press conferences. But if Gabriel does start, brilliant. If not, Mosquera has to step up in the biggest game of his career so far. Then there's Saka and Timber. Multiple reports are saying neither of them traveled to Portugal. Saka especially. That hurts. He's been our danger man in Europe for years. The guy who always shows up in big moments even when his form has been a bit up and down in the league. Not having him tonight is a genuine problem on the right side. Timber has been close to returning from his injury. Some sources suggested he might even make the starting a seat. But if he hasn't traveled, that's that. Mikel Merino? Still out. Hincapié? Still out. Trossard is doubtful too. So basically, we're going into a Champions League quarterfinal away from home with a patched-up squad and a few players who probably aren't fully fit. Sound familiar? Yeah. Arsenal always do this. Predicted Arsenal lineup. What I think Arteta will go with right. Let's try and piece this together. In goal, David Raya. Obviously, he's played almost every Champions League game this season, and he's been excellent. At right back, Mosquera looks most likely to start, especially with Timber's availability still unclear. He's young, he's decent on the ball, but he hasn't been tested at this level too many times. It's a big ask. Center-back partnership. Hopefully, Gabriel and Saliba. If Gabriel can't go, then Mosquera slides inside and someone else fills in at right back. Either way, Saliba has to be commanding tonight. He's our best defender by a mile. Left back, Calafiori. He's been the go-to option with Hincapié out, and he gives us decent attacking support down that side. Midfield, Rice returns, and Odegaard should be there as well. The captain has had a quiet season by his own standards. Tonight, in a big European match is exactly when we need him to wake up. If Saka isn't traveling, Odegaard has to be the creative force. On the wings, this is interesting. Without Saka, Noni Madueke is the likely option on the right, and on the left, Martinelli should start. He didn't get punished for his little push on the referee at the weekend, which was a relief, so he keeps his place. Up front, Victor Gyökeres. More on him in a second, but yes, he leads the line. So something like Raya, Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Rice, Odegaard, Madueke, Gyökeres, Martinelli. I'm not fully convinced by that midfield setup if we only have two central midfielders. Sporting press well and they move the ball quickly. We might get exposed, but let's see what Arteta decides. The Victor Gyökeres factor. This is the story of the night, okay. Now we have to talk about Victor Gyökeres, because this subplot is absolutely wild. Gyökeres joined Arsenal. Yes, Arsenal, after leaving Sporting last summer. And tonight, he goes back to the Alvalade, the stadium where he scored 97 goals in 102 games, where the fans absolutely loved him, where he became one of the best strikers in Europe, and now he's coming back wearing red and white, trying to knock them out of the Champions League. If he scores tonight, and I think he will, the reaction in that stadium is going to be something else. Some fans will cheer him out of respect, others will be absolutely furious. That kind of atmosphere, that's what football is made of. Here's the thing, though. Gyökeres has been brilliant for Arsenal. He's already got 6 goals in 9 Champions League games this season. He scored on the weekend, too. International duty, fired Sweden into the World Cup. The guy is in form, real form, and Sporting know exactly what he can do. They know his runs, his hold-up play, his power in the air. They built their entire attack around him for 2 years. So will that knowledge help them stop him? Or will he just do what he always does and find a way anyway? My money is on the second option. Sporting CP. Don't sleep on these guys, right? Let me talk about Sporting for a second, because some Arsenal fans are sleeping on them, and that's dangerous. Yes, they lost Gyökeres. Yes, their captain Morten Hjulmand is suspended tonight after picking up his 5th yellow card of the Champions League campaign. That is a massive blow. He's their midfield engine, the player who does the dirty work, wins the ball back, sets the tempo. Without him, their midfield looks more vulnerable. But they still have Francisco Trincão. 7 goal involvements in 9 Champions League games. He is their main creative threat, and he loves playing at the Alvalade. He causes problems with his dribbling, his movement, his ability to find pockets of space. Madueke and Mosquera are going to have their hands full trying to contain him and Catamo on the other side. They also have Marcus Suarez up front. Not a household name, but a guy who has scored in each of his last 3 Champions League home games. That's the kind of form that hurts you when you least expect it. And their home record. I said it earlier, but let me say it again. 20 games unbeaten at home. 19 wins and 1 draw. That is serious. That is a fortress. Any Arsenal fan thinking we just turn up and dominate tonight needs a reality check. Head to head, history is on our side, but history doesn't play football. One thing worth mentioning, Arsenal have never lost to Sporting in regular time. 7 meetings, no losses, and last season we absolutely destroyed them 5-1 at this very stadium. That's encouraging. But I'm not going to sit here and say history means everything, because Sporting right now is a different animal compared to last season. New momentum, new belief. They went 3-0 down against Bodø Glimt and still came back. That tells you about their mentality. So yes, history is on our side, but we still have to actually go and do it tonight. What does Arsenal actually need from this game? This is the key question, right? Going away in a Champions League quarterfinal first leg, you don't have to win. A 0-0 or a 1-1 is fine. You bring it back to the Emirates for the second leg and go from there. But what you absolutely cannot do is lose by 2 goals. Because then you're chasing the game at home and pressure becomes a whole different thing. With Rice back, I think we can be solid in midfield and hard to break down. Our defensive record in Europe this season is genuinely elite, only conceding about half a goal per game on average. That discipline has to show up tonight, but we also need to create something going forward. Odegaard needs a big performance, Gyökeres needs his moment, and whoever plays on the right, whether it's Madueke or someone else, needs to be direct and aggressive, not passive. A 1-0 win? Perfect. A 1-1 draw? Acceptable. A 0-0? I'll take it. But please, No silly early concession. No soft goal from a set piece because we switched off. Questions for you. Before I wrap this up, let me ask you a few things. Drop your answers in the comments. Let's have a proper debate. 1. Do you think Gabriel actually starts tonight, or is Arteta being protective of him and Mosquera plays from the beginning? 2. Is Gyökeres scoring against Sporting tonight? And if he does he celebrate or not? 3. What scoreline are you predicting? Be honest. Don't just say 3-0 Arsenal because you want to feel good about it. 4. Are you genuinely worried about this Sporting side? Or do you think we handle them comfortably over 2 legs? Seriously, let me know. I want to hear what you think. The bigger picture. What happens if we go through? Quick note on this because it matters. If Arsenal get through this quarterfinal, the semi-final could be against either Barcelona or Atletico Madrid. Both absolutely massive ties. The kind of games that define a season, define a manager's legacy, define whether this Arsenal project is real or not. Arteta has been building towards this moment for 4 years. The Premier League lead is still there. The Champions League is still alive. Yes, the cup's hurt. Yes, the squad looks tired in places, but the dream isn't dead. Tonight is about keeping that dream breathing. Let's go to Lisbon right. That's where we are. Arsenal traveling to Lisbon, battered squad, big occasion, Gyökeres going back to where it all started, Sporting unbeaten at home in almost a year, and 90 minutes of football that could go absolutely anywhere. You know what, though? This is exactly the kind of game I live for as an Arsenal fan, not the easy ones, the ones where you're not quite sure, the ones where the tension is real and anything can happen. I believe in this team, even now, even after Southampton, even after City. Because European nights have always brought something different out of Arsenal, something focused, something hungry. And I think tonight, with Rice back, with Gyökeres ready to perform in front of his old fans, we get a result. Tonight is not just a football match. Tonight is personal. Viktor Gyökeres is walking back into the stadium where he became a superstar, but this time he's wearing red and white. And Arsenal fans? They are holding their breath. Can he deliver when it matters most? Or will this be another night where the questions about him get louder? Let's get into it. Who even is Viktor Gyökeres? Let's set the scene. If you have not been paying attention to this guy over the last 2 years, let me catch you up quickly. Viktor Gyökeres was at Sporting Lisbon. And by was at Sporting, I mean he was absolutely tearing the place apart. We are talking 97 goals in 102 appearances. Read that again. 97 goals in 102 games. That is not a footballer. That is a machine. He helped Sporting win back-to-back league titles. He was the player everyone in Europe was watching. His name was in every transfer conversation. And eventually, Arsenal came calling. Now here is where the Fabrizio Romano side of the story gets interesting, because this transfer was not simple. It was a whole saga. Romano reported that during the negotiations, Gyökeres was so determined to join Arsenal that he actually refused to show up for Sporting's pre-season training. Romano confirmed on X that Gyökeres would not return for training at Sporting as he was fully focused on leaving the club. Think about that. The man was basically sitting at home waiting for Arsenal to sort out the paperwork. And when Manchester United tried to get involved, Romano shut that down quickly too. He confirmed that Gyökeres' priority was Arsenal, despite calls from Manchester United in the weeks prior. United believed a deal was unlikely. They were right. The fee itself took a while to land. Romano eventually broke the "here we go." Arsenal reached a verbal agreement with Sporting for 63.5 million plus 10 million in add-ons, with Gyökeres signing a 5-year deal. And Romano's words, he only wanted Arsenal. Only Arsenal. Come on, that still feels good to say. So why did Arsenal even need him? This is an important question because some people looked at Arsenal last season and said, you don't need a striker, you need consistency. But Arteta knew better. The real problem was Kai Havertz. Not because Havertz is a bad player. He is not. But he is not a natural number 9. He is someone who drifts, who works hard, who contributes in different ways. But if you need a goal from nothing in the 85th minute of a big game, he is not your first call. Arteta himself confirmed this. He said Arsenal started looking at Gyökeres seriously around December 2024, specifically because of Havertz's injury problems and what that exposed about the squad. They needed a proper striker, a real one. Gyökeres fits the profile almost perfectly. He is physical, he presses from the front, he runs in behind, and he finishes. Arteta's system is built around movement and pressing, and Gyökeres does both. On paper, it makes complete sense. But football is not played on paper. The Premier League adjustment. Let's be honest. I want to be fair here, because some fans have been a little too quick to defend him and some have been a little too quick to write him off. The honest truth is, his Premier League adaptation has been uneven. He has not hit the sporting numbers. He has not been the automatic, relentless goal machine we saw in Portugal. And that is okay to say. The Premier League is genuinely different. The pace is higher, the defenders are sharper, and there is no soft game where you can pick up a hat trick against a bottom three side. But, and this is important, there have been real signs recently. The goal at Southampton felt like a shift, like something clicking, a natural, composed finish that showed the confidence is coming back. And then there is the international break, which could not have come at a better time for him. What Sweden did for his head. Let me tell you something. A hat trick for your national team followed by scoring the goal that sends your country to a World Cup. That does not just affect your confidence. That changes something inside you. Arteta described it well. He said those kinds of experiences go into your veins. They stay with you. And he is right. When Gyökeres scored that winner against Poland to send Sweden to the World Cup, that moment is locked in his memory forever. That is the kind of thing that makes a player feel untouchable. 4 goals in 2 qualifying games. Clean, clinical, purposeful. He came back to Arsenal not as a player trying to find his form. He came back as someone who just reminded the whole world what he is capable of. Now the question is, can he bring that same energy to the Champions League stage? Tonight's game. This is the big one, Arsenal versus Sporting CP. Champions League quarter-final first leg. In Lisbon, tonight, and Gyökeres is walking back into the stadium where he built everything. Let's be real, this is not a comfortable situation. This crowd knows him, they love him, but they also know he pushed to leave. Romano confirmed the transfer had friction. It was not a clean thank you and goodbye situation. Gyökeres was refusing training, Sporting were frustrated, the exit was messy. So yes, expect some noise from that crowd. Expect a bit of edge. Returns like this always carry that feeling. But Arteta says Gyökeres is actually looking forward to it. And I believe that. The best players do not hide from moments like this. They want them. They want to walk back in and prove something. Here is another layer to this story that I love. Arteta has been using Gyökeres as an inside source. He has been sitting down with his own striker, asking him about how Sporting think, how they train, what they said about Arsenal before their group stage game last season. Think about that. Gyökeres knows the dressing room. He knows the staff. He knows what Sporting are afraid of and what they think they can exploit. That is a genuine competitive advantage. And Arteta did not hide it. He said he spoke to Gyökeres to understand the dynamics, the culture, the things that were discussed when Sporting prepared to face Arsenal. That is smart management. Arsenal's Champions League form? Are we sleeping on this? Can we just talk about how good Arsenal have been in this competition? Because I feel like it is not getting the attention it deserves. They beat Athletic Bilbao 2-0 away, Olympiacos at home, Atletico Madrid 4-0, yes, 4-0, Inter Milan 3-1 away from home, Bayern Munich 3-1 at the Emirates, Club Brugge 3-0, and then the Leverkusen tie, drew 1-1 in Germany, won 2-0 at home to go through. Clean and professional. This Arsenal side knows how to handle big games in Europe. They are not scared anymore. That matters a lot when you are going to Lisbon. The bookmakers agree too. Arsenal are sitting at 51.6% chance of winning tonight, Sporting at 22.4%. That tells you everything about how this tie is viewed, but do not let those numbers make you relax. Sporting at home are a different animal. Arteta himself said their home record is incredible, and that you need to be very good to handle it. He said what they are doing is remarkable. That is not Arteta being diplomatic. That is genuine respect. The record that started everything. Do you know what is wild about all of this? Arsenal already played Sporting last season, and it ended 5-1 to the Gunners. A demolition. But here is the thing. Gyökeres played in that game. He was the Sporting striker trying to score against Saliba and Gabriel. And even in a 5-1 loss, he impressed people with his work rate, his running, his relentless effort against two of the best defenders in Europe. That performance was probably one of the moments that convinced Arsenal he was worth signing. He showed he could compete at that level, even when everything around him was falling apart. Now he is on the other side of that equation, and he gets to show what he can do when he has a team built around him. What this season means for Gyökeres. Arteta said something very clear about how this season will be judged. He said the final 7 or 8 weeks will define everything, for the team and for individual players. We are in those weeks now. This is not a moment to look back at the uneven performances from October or November. This is the moment to ask, what are you going to do right now? Tonight, in Lisbon, in the biggest club game of his career. Gyökeres has never played a Champions League quarterfinal before. Arteta pointed that out. He said you can imagine what it means to the player. And yes, we can. This is new territory. The nerves are real. The stakes are real. But so is the talent, and so is the momentum. My honest take. I will be straight with you. I was not fully convinced for a while. I watched some of those early performances and thought, okay, maybe the Sporting numbers were a little helped by the level of the Portuguese league. Maybe the Premier League will take a bit too long for him to adapt, and those doubts were fair. I will not pretend they were not. But what I am seeing now, the Southampton goal, the Sweden games, the way he is moving with more confidence, it feels different. It feels like a player who has figured something out. Does he need a big performance tonight? Yes. Absolutely yes. Not because his Arsenal career depends on it, but because this is the kind of night that defines how fans feel about you. One big display in a quarterfinal changes the conversation completely. It turns still finding his feet into this is our striker, and I think he knows that. I think that is exactly why he is excited rather than nervous. Quick questions before we finish. A couple of things I want to throw out to you. Do you think Gyökeres scores tonight? First leg, away from home, electric atmosphere. Does he deliver? And honestly, how do you rate his Arsenal season so far? Has it lived up to what you expected when you first heard Romano say, "Here we go"? Drop your thoughts. I genuinely want to know where everyone is on this, because the fan base seems split and I find that interesting. Here is the bottom line. Victor Gyökeres did not come to Arsenal to be average. He turned down other clubs. He held out. He refused training in Portugal just to make this move happen. He signed a 5-year deal because he believes in this project. Tonight is his chance to show the Lisbon fans and the rest of Europe that he made the right call.